In this video, we discuss what are the best AI infrastructure stocks with a particular emphasis on the big three, TSMC, Nvidia, and AMD.
So I guess that's a good time to transition onto our next topics, which is AI stocks and AMD on that list. Maybe it's a good time to start with AMD and your current thoughts on AMD at the moment.
Do,
Yeah,
do,
go on, you
do
go
you want
first.
to talk about AMD? Yeah, I'll just say like very quick. I invested in AMD as as almost like a value play in the fact that I thought Lisa Su was a fantastic CEO. There's arguments to be made that they're going to be very good on inference AI, which is going to be very important as we shift towards agentic AI. So actually, just like live use cases for AI, not just kind of something that's pre-trained, but something that's like working with the data in real time, and then giving you updated advice or decisions or productivity based off that data live. There's arguments to be made that AMD are going to be very good at that, and that they were just as we said before, they were just neglected. Like it was just a contrarian play, neglected by the market. It was easy to be an Nvidia shareholder, and now anyone that actually doubled down on that at like $100 a share or less, or even 120, because they're like 170 right now, did very well. But I know that you talk about AMD a lot on your channel, so give me your take on AMD.
Yeah, just a bit what you were saying there about founders. Yeah, I mean Lisa Su, I mean she wasn't a founder, but she was nearly as good as a founder.
She turned the company around. I mean, AMD was dead in 2013, 2014, and she has
Yeah,
completely transformed that company. It's been
yeah.
like a 25x probably since then.
Yeah, 100%. And she's nearly a founder. But when we're looking at AMD, really, it's a bit like what we were talking about before we started recording this video, which is that it was the market just being slow to realize that they were starting to just turn the corner a little bit. People wrote AMD off and it weren't going to benefit from the AI situation, and they were slow to adapt to it and get great products out. But now, they're starting to catch up, and the market was just ignoring it, and the key signs were there that they were starting to get better products. They're starting to see that revenue growth starting to come in here, and like we're saying, the market just completely ignored it. And you start looking at now if they're going to become a major player in this space, the amount of TAM that they're going to be able to take from this space at the moment is going to be massive for them. And we're starting to see the key signs of them turning it around right now. But the thing is with AMD is that the key products as well is that when it starts coming in the MI 400 next year, that's when we actually start seeing the real big turning points. And yet the market just were valuing it down to what, $60 a few months ago, and now all of a sudden it's starting to realize like, oh, actually there's serious products coming in here. So I think we're already starting to see the turnaround signs here, and I think that this is the starting sign. I think in a few months' time, when some of these new products come in, it's going to come even more clear. Like Nvidia's finally got a little bit of competition here.
Yeah, I think so too. And they're only at 260 billion market cap. You compare that to Nvidia. Nvidia's at 4.2 trillion. So there's a huge gap to be there. And this is the thing, is like the hyperscalers that we just talked about, they all need this hardware. They all need this hardware. It's like, okay, so businesses are going to utilize AI. So they use some software, some AI, and all of that falls back down to the hyperscalers that have the infrastructure, the cloud providers. And that falls back to AMD and Nvidia. So the base bricks of this pyramid. And in fact, one step below that is TSMC, which is another one of my largest holdings. Like I bought Nvidia and AMD, but I held TSMC for a very long time, since like $80 a share back in mid 2023, because I was trying to work out this Nvidia AMD argument, and I know that I own them both now. But I said, look, if I'm unsure, like there's people that know a lot more about semiconductors and chips that they're unclear about who's going to win this race, right? It's not a decided race at all. But of course, Nvidia is getting a bit more credit at the moment. I just said, look, like these two companies are fabulous. They don't have the infrastructure to actually physically produce. Yeah, they design, they distribute, they own the IP, but they are not the manufacturers. So I said, let's invest in TSMC, and I did really well out of that. A lot of people say, oh wow, like China could invade Taiwan or whatever, and that's actually a real geopolitical threat, seriously, particularly when you've got the US and China being the two main AI players, the two main military powers, etc., in the world, if we're going to have a change in global world order, it's going to be China that comes up. And Taiwan, 80-90% of the foundries are in Taiwan. Luckily, TSMC are geographically diversifying a bit away from Taiwan. That will take time. And it's like they're all on the west coast of Taiwan, 100 miles from China. It's a crazy situation. But my whole thinking is, yeah, China can't also damage these foundries because they need the chips. They're not going to nuke Taiwan. And if they do, then it's like what's the point? It's not just going to be TSMC that suffers. Then Nvidia's going to suffer. Then Microsoft, Google, Amazon are going to suffer. Then everyone's going to suffer. And like, we might as well then invest in Coca-Cola. So yeah, that's the big risk with Taiwan Semiconductor. But it's, I mean, if that happens, you've got to start worrying about, oh shit, is like all innovation going to slow down? Should I start growing carrots in my garden type thing?
Yeah.